We don't sleep to dream, we sleep to build stamina. Energy to do our thing, get your camera up. This show is about to begin, so sit down and buckle it in. Let's go! Yeah, baby. My name is Brian. That is Shane. You are watching The BRANE Show every Saturday at 12:30. How you doing today, Shane? Shane, I can't hear you. Did you mute your mic? You muted your mic, dude.
You know why I muted my mic? Because I've been coughing this whole time. So
it's okay.
Fortunately, I'm feeling sick today, guys, but I am here. My big cup of coffee.
Ready to rock and roll. Right? Ready to rock and roll, baby.
We're going to do something, man. We're going to do something.
We're going to rock and roll. That's what we're going to do. I just said that.
All right. Party all night long. Yeah. I'm excited. Let's go.
I'm so sorry you're sick. You're sick, Shane. But you know who's not sick?
You.
The amazing audience out there rocking and rolling. Thank you guys for coming on over from the Salty Nerd Show and for supporting us every week. Just so you guys know, we should be live streaming on Rumble. I don't know if we are. I think we are, but it's really hard for me to tell. And on X, which we are definitely streaming on X because I checked that. Listen, we are demonetized here on this channel for the time being, at least for the next month. So do me a favor. If you want to support us, it's pretty simple. You look at that chat right there, that pinned comment. I'm not sure if it's pinned, actually. I can't tell.
I don't think it was pinned.
Oh, maybe you should pin it.
I can't actually be in YouTube anymore or else.
Yeah, that's great. I pinned it. You can check us out on the BRANE, mxtz.co/BRANE, and I will show you that right here. It's in the chat too, and you can see all these amazing products we have. We're going to be adding more next week. This is my hat we're selling right here, the 1776 American flag, my favorite thing right now, and Shane's Gen X shirt. If you haven't seen this shirt, it's pretty awesome. Speak your mind, Gen X. I can handle it.
I can handle it, and I really can.
He can. He can handle it. That's the best way to support us. I think Rumble also has Rumble chats and that kind of stuff too. But if you really want to support us, and you want to buy a cool T-shirt or a hat or a mouse pad or whatever, then get over there and get it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking about today? Well, let me tell you, we have a lot of stuff. We're talking about tampons in men's bathrooms over at Meta.
Wait. We have a lot of stuff. We're talking about tampons.
Right.
It sounds like we don't have much to talk about, but we do.
We're talking about the confirmation hearings and why some of these politicians are just so, what's the word?
Sleazy?
Sleazy? Yeah, with the way their words. We're going to touch a little bit on the airline crashes. There's actually a few of those. Selena Gomez crying about the deportations and who's actually being deported. And I actually found some other really cool, or not really cool, but interesting things about that we're going to share. The tariffs are starting today. So I got some stuff. I got the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, who's actually, I'm fairly certain, the long lost son of Fidel Castro, him talking about the tariffs. The end could be nigh because in 2032, there's a chance, small chance, but a chance that a skyscraper-sized asteroid is going to destroy us all.
Listen, we had a perfect opportunity to, clickbait everybody and just say that we were all going to die in 2032.
We're all going to die. That's going to happen. So,
all right.
Also, federal worker job cuts, and why this is actually important. And the email they all got that was like super efficient. Like, I like how Doge is efficient even with being Doge. They're like, if you would like to resign, just type resign here.
And I have a lot of insight actually on that since I was in the federal government.
Good. And OpenAI says Deepseek stole their work, and I have proof they did.
Woo! We're gonna Deepseek the deepfake.
We're gonna Deepseek the deepfake OpenAI chat bot AGI, whatever. North Korean troops are being pulled out of Russia after taking heavy losses. And what's up with Anthony Mackie and the whole America shade thing? I'm sure we're going to... I'm trying to do this in order of importance because a lot of people are talking about the Anthony Mackie thing. I'm hoping that we get to that. But we did just talk about that on the Salty Nerd Show. But I'm sure Shane also has some insight into that as well.
Sure.
That's what we're talking about today. It's going to be great. I'm super stoked everyone's here and watching. And can't wait to talk about it.
It's great to be here. I just hope you guys are all doing great. I hope you had a great week. It's now February. It is now February. Where did the month go already?
Right.
Lots going on here.
Where did the month go, Shane? Shane, where did it go?
I don't know, because I don't feel like I got nearly as much accomplished in January as I was supposed to. And now we're in February and I feel like I'm scrambling, but that's where we're at.
Okay. Well, let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about first the meta news. And when I'm saying meta, I'm not referring to like metaphysical. The company Meta that owns Facebook, Instagram, et cetera, led by Mark Zuckerberg, who up until recently was a robot lizard, and now he just seems to be a surfer bro. I watched the Social Network the other night.
Oh, did you? I did. It's one of those weird movies. I'm not sure exactly why that I like to just watch occasionally.
Right.
Like I've seen it dozens of times. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it like feeds my entrepreneurial spirit somehow. It's like going back and watching that old. I also like to watch back when Microsoft CEO. I don't know why I just drew a blank. My brain is not working today.
Bill Gates.
When Bill Gates was fighting with Steve Jobs.
Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Pirates of Silicon Valley. I love going back and watching that movie. I like movies like this, historical. Like how did things get started, and it's exciting.
One of the all-time great movies. Like if you haven't seen Pirates of Silicon Valley, you should watch that.
Absolutely.
And if I had to take a pick between Pirates of Silicon Valley and social media and the Social Network, Pirates of Silicon Valley, take it hand over fist. They're both good movies. Anyways, so over at Meta, they recently removed tampons from men's bathroom. And this is what the New York Post has to say on it. After Meta removed tampons from men's bathrooms in company office buildings earlier this month, some employees started coordinating quiet rebellions by bringing in their own, according to a new report. I just think it's funny that there are like men.
How is that a rebellion?
Men have no use for these whatsoever, yet they're like sneaking them into the building. Like, yes, I am rebelling. I am protesting against this injustice.
Well, and the fact that I don't know how it's much of a quiet rebellion when no one really knows you're even using them when you go in there,
or cares,
or unless you're waving them around and as you're walking into the room.
I am quietly rebelling this horrible injustice by bringing in tampons. Jerry, shut up! So in early January, CEO Mark Zuckerberg overhauled a variety of Meta's internal and external policies, ranging from lifting restrictions on speech to restore free expression across his platform, to changing its hateful conduct policy to allow criticism of gender identity. I'm not sure why. By the way, anything and everything should be able to be criticized. Period. Full stop. Anything and everything, whether I like it or you like it or we like it, people should be able to express their criticism. Now, those criticisms may completely be unwarranted or unfounded or based on bad data, but they should be able to be expressed.
Well, that's true, but inside the workplace, and you wouldn't know this since you've never had a job, but inside the workplace.
Hey, I've had a job.
Listen, that thing you did for a couple weeks where you went into somebody's house and did some things, that doesn't count. Okay?
I worked in the fashion industry for 5 years. Okay.
I know. I'm just kidding. But the point is like there could be internal rules where you're not allowed to create a toxic work environment. So I understand that. So you're right. They should be able to say whatever they want, but they may not be able to inside. So it kind of is a big deal that Meta decided to put out official paperwork saying, it's okay if you want to say some stuff.
That's true. By the way, Jeremy, I wasn't talking about you, man. I said Jerry, not Jeremy. Jerry.
He heard his name.
So I always use the name Jerry because we had this intern once named Jerry that would not shut the F up. So I just constantly go back to that name.
What's the guy's name on? Isn't Jerry the guy on Parks and Recs who everybody tortures? The old guy who's like super talented.
No, no, that's not Jerry. Is that Jerry?
I think his name's Jerry, and it's funny because you were like doing Jerry, and I'm like, oh, they torture that. He'll like paint this incredible painting, and then they just trash him.
Yeah. That show is so great, and there's 3 reasons for me that show is outstanding, and it's not because the main character. It's actually, if it's Jerry, I think Jerry is the right name. By the way, his name isn't actually Jerry. They just called him that one day, and that stuck. Remember that?
That's right. His name isn't really Jerry.
Also, Nick Offerman's character is outstanding.
Yeah,
that show is just well done, and I think that Chris Pratt in the early seasons of that show is hilarious.
Yeah, he's very funny.
I think it was season 3 when he starts his shoe shine shop. Say that 3 times. He's shining Nick's boots, and Nick has like a reaction.
He's getting off.
He's like,
oh. The look on Chris Pratt's face.
That's like, what the?
Yeah, that's funny.
So great. Anyways, back to this. The thing is, so let me finish this article. One internal move that irked woke Meta employees was the removal of women's sanitary products from men's bathrooms, while the company had previously provided for non-binary and transgender employees.
Let's make this clear here. There were tampons in the men's bathroom.
Right.
Okay, so just to be clear, these are women, biological women who identify as men, so they could go into the men's bathroom to change their tampons. They made tampons available in there. Is that right?
Right.
I just want to be clear. Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming that there's no what other reason.
There's no other option, right? Unless the dudes are going in. What did somebody say in the chat? Stuffing them up their nose. Was that? Using them to stop bloody noses.
It just reminds me. I was watching Silicon Valley recently, and you know their lawyer, the guy they hire from who's like fresh out of prison or whatever.
I love him.
He's like, I'm actually not a lawyer. You can't actually call me that legally. I'm an arbitrator. One of the reasons he went to jail was because he soaked a tampon in grain alcohol and shoved it in his rear. And
to get drunk.
And then he was doing like 80 miles an hour in the school zone. No, but so every time I go, how would men use tampons? I think, well, I mean, there's
getting drunk at work.
There's definitely a use. Yeah. You soak them in vodka. Yeah.
Okay. Listen, this is becoming a lot more reasonable to me.
Now I get it. I sort of get it. All right. They go on to say, according to the New York Times on Wednesday, to protest Mr. Zuckerberg's actions, some Meta workers soon brought their own tampons, pads, and liners to the men's bathrooms. Hey, guess what? Don't got a problem with that.
So they brought them. No, here's what they're saying. They need to be more clear. They probably brought them in and like stock the shelves or something. You know what I mean? Like they're stocking the shelves themselves. I think they should have been more clear about that.
If you want to bring your own tampons and sanitary products to work, that's fine.
But to put them out for everybody to use.
I mean, in the restroom? If you want to waste your money, go for it. I don't know why Meta should even be on the hook for this. It's like,
yeah, that's fair. I guess if you want to, yeah, why not?
Yeah, so Shay and I have ran a business. Like, should we have to provide all those things, or should that be on them to provide?
Listen, we were way ahead of the curve. We had a same-sex bathroom.
That's right, we did.
And that's because there was only one bathroom.
Because there's only one bathroom.
We were way ahead of the curve.
I remember Shane made me take it down, but you know how you have those bathroom signs that show like the gender? I remember ours was like some nerdy thing. It had like men's, women's, and then like a superhero with a cape, and then like a cat person. And I remember Shane's like, "Can we not do this at work?"
I don't remember that.
Did I really? I remember someone complained about it. No, but look, if you want to bring your own sanitary things to the office, then go for it.
Okay. But if you want to bring them in protest of what the company has done and like make sure everybody sees that you've put out these, is that right?
It's not,
slippery slope.
Let me tell you why it's not right. Because it's a business. It's not this is not a place to spout your personal beliefs. You're supposed to be there to work and make the company money. So
you know what the next move is?
Stop distracting people with all this. You know what's funny is, this is like a small minority of people that are like, tampons, and the rest of them are like, damn it, I don't give a shit.
That's true. Do you know what the sucker punch move? You know what the reverse move for the business is? Okay, so the business says no more tampons in the men. We're not putting tampons in the men's bathroom. So the trans men start bringing tampons in and stocking the bathrooms themselves out of protest. So then the company says no problem, and they change the door signs. And they change the door signs from men and women's to vagina and penis. Right. So when you go into the door, you can only go into the one with which you have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah, we can solve a lot of these bathroom problems instead of having to have like 6 bathrooms, because like the only way you make everyone happy at this point is you have men's, women's, they, thems, non-binary, unidentified, whatever. You have to have like a lot of different bathrooms to make everyone happy. We can solve this problem. Shane's right, by just putting a picture of a vagina on one door and a picture of a penis on the other door.
Absolutely.
And you can just walk in and be like, which one do I have?
Which one do I have? All right. Doesn't matter what you feel like you are that day or what you may identify as. Yeah. Whatever you have physically is what the room you go into.
And I gotta say, if you're a trans woman and you went as far as getting the surgery,
yes,
then you have gone all the way, bro. Or sis. Get in there. You now have a vagina, whether it's manufactured or not.
Get in the vagina room.
Get in there, sister.
Yes.
I support.
Use all the tampons that won't make any difference in the world, but use them up.
Yes. Yeah. Go for it. All right. This is a weird, awkward story. I'm realizing now at the end of it how awkward it is.
No, you want to know what's awkward? Show the picture you have on your screen right now.
Oh yeah,
then you can show awkward.
This is the headline picture they used at the New York Post. Like, this is a tampon. Hello.
Which most guys are like, I didn't need to know what that was.
Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, most people. By the way, most people do not care about this. Which goes to show, like the whole movement, or this, the argument with the trans thing. And I'm sure I'm going to say this a lot today. Look, regardless of how you feel about trans, like let's say you think they all have gender dysphoria. Let's say you think it's genetic or whatever. Who cares? Bottom line is, this is your cross to bear, and you shouldn't force that cross upon other people. Like, you shouldn't. It's your cross to bear, regardless of what your politics are. Whatever this problem is for you, whatever this cross you have to bear, whatever this frustration or life, we all have those things. I'm not forcing my problems onto you. Don't force them onto me. I don't care if you bring tampons in the men's bathroom. If you're over 18, I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what you do if you're over 18. But like, don't force it onto me and force me to carry your burden, because we all have burdens, and I'm not doing that to you.
Yeah, and like, I'm going to defend your right to be whatever you want to be, to do it. Sure. I'm going to defend your right, even if whatever my personal. I don't even care.
As long as you're an adult.
But a lot of this is also going over into the military. So Trump is, now that he's president, he's signing away a bunch of DEI initiatives, and one of those things is trans people in the military. And this is going to be a very interesting thing. They're going to basically call it like they did with gay people when they did Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It's going to kind of end up being a similar thing with people that are trans people. What they don't want is trans people for their identity to take over their job and what they're doing. And so in the military, it's complicated because, it's one thing when, let's say you're gay, right? And like I said, I served with a lot of gay people in the military, and I never had an issue with it. One time, and that's not true. One time I had an issue with it. But for the most part, you don't even know most people are gay, right? And that was fine. Nowadays, everybody's touting around who and what they are, and it's just not that big of a deal. Like, I'm not touting around the fact that I'm a heterosexual. I don't need to know if you're gay or not. I don't need to know if you're trans. But then it becomes a problem when which bathroom are they going to go into? Because military bathrooms are very, it's very clear. And if someone who looks like a woman or a man goes into the opposite bathroom, it starts to become a problem. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes out in the future. But it's definitely going to be something that we need to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. So speaking of the pronoun thing, this is a perfect segue. So pronouns, what's that?
You're welcome.
I appreciate that, man. Pronouns were banned in the Fed, right? So federal employees can't use pronouns
in their emails. Yeah.
And their emails. But this is also going to go to schooling and teachers using pronouns in schools. I think that this is the first step to, and when I say I think, I believe this is the first step to banning the whole pronoun nonsense. And I'll be real with you. I think the 72 genders and multiple pronouns thing is stupid. I think it's dumb. I think it's a waste of time. But I also don't care if an adult wants to go by a pronoun. Don't force me to use it when I don't even know who you are. But I don't really care if you want to be Zer, Zem, they, whatever. I don't give a shit.
Well, that's going to be a state thing, though. So it's really important. Like Trump can't say, listen, all teachers, you can't do that. Because
funding.
It would have to be, it'd have to be individual states. They could say, we're going to take away educational funding if you guys don't change this rule. They could. But the states, and there is some federal funding for schools, but the states ultimately get to decide whether or not. And listen, I support the fact that the states decide, honestly.
100%.
And that's the way America should be.
Because what bothers me about the pronouns is not that people that use them. If they have a confused idea or whatever, if they're adults, I really don't care. But I do have a problem with teachers pushing the pronouns. Excuse me. Teachers pushing the pronouns in school and confusing already confused children and young people. That is a major issue. My kids go to a private school because I walked into their second grade, I believe it was, class at the time, and I saw their soon-to-be teacher. It was orientation, and she, her, they, them. I don't even know what their pronouns were. Had shaved sides of their heads, blue hair, and a trans flag on their jean jacket, and I was like, oh, I'm not doing this. And
well, now it's political. See, that's the difference. Like if somebody it would be like me or you going in and and Ron Swansing everything, right? So take the Parks and Recs thing we were talking about earlier,
right?
Coming in and making sure everybody knows how straight we are, how masculine we are. It's like overdoing the
right, kids.
It goes to now you're trying to put out an ideology, and it's like if that person was trans and they just went about their life being trans, that would be one thing, no big deal. But the fact that they're trying to externalize it and then affect everybody else around them to change their minds about how they feel, then that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, and that's when it gets weird. And so the people are saying, oh, that's not happening in schools, it's being overreactive.
It is 100% happening.
It's 100% happening. Let me show you a couple quick clips.
Not all schools, but
not all schools. Reminder, kids are already confused. They're learning.
Yeah.
They're growing. Their brains are soft. Having a teacher explain pronouns, having them, use these. I've never even seen that pronoun, by the way. MX, mix, Montgomery. I'm not even sure how you'd say that.
Textbooks. Can you guys say hi, Mix Crystal? Hi, Mix.
I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but she goes on and listen to the age of these children. They are very young.
Does anybody know what mix means? There's Mr. and there's Mrs. Anybody see mix before? So, mix.
I'm going to stop. It's because she's non-binary. Why is she, though, explaining to a group of second graders what non-binary is?
Well, because to her, it's the most important thing in her life. And it's how she identifies, and she wants to condition the kids. When I was in the second grade, I had this was I guess it'd be the late 70s, right? Late 70s. I was in the second grade and I had a black teacher guy. He was a substitute, and he came in and listen, the 70s, if you guys were around for him, there were some racially tensioned times. Okay, kind of like today in a way, which is weird. We shouldn't be. And he came in and got very angry at all of the little white boys and girls, and started talking about how our ancestors had slaves, and how, we were part of a rotten rotten. It was really weird. Okay, this happened in second grade. Well, he was fired, obviously, because people went home and told what happened. But nowadays, you can come in and push an ideology onto your children, and as long as that ideology is considered, heroic or acceptable, then it's okay for us to teach the kids this. Okay. A lot of people want to go in and condition children because it starts with kids, right? Whatever you teach children is what they're going to go on to believe as they get older. So that's why you see a lot of these left wing, ideologies going through schools, embracing this kinder, gentler world. But at the same time, it's also filling their head full of a bunch of different beliefs, and this is why we have these problems.
Right. So. Yeah. And on that note, I hate to continually bring this up, but like in the 50s, they wrote a book on how to take over the West, and it started with, teachers in elementary schools, in high schools, and then in colleges, teaching the next generation how to respond, how to act, how to be. It started that way. And it might have taken a couple generations for us to start recognizing it as an actual strategy at play, but it 100% has been happening.
I know that they had that, but I don't think that was the reason why we have what we have today. I think this was a natural proclivity to anti-bullying. So what happened, if you go back and you watch throughout time, right, there was times when kids used to be bullied really hard, right? Mm-hmm. Back when I was a kid, when most of you guys were kids were bullied. And over time, there became like this battle against bullying, right? And I would say in the 90s and the early 2000s, bullying was destroyed in the school systems. Bullies were put down, and people who were actually the people that things happened to, the people who
the victims of the
victims. Sorry.
So if there's bullies, the bullied. So
the bullied. The victims became the heroes. Right. So now, if you put down a bully, you became the hero. Now that started in the late 70s, 80s. This was the messaging, because bullying is bad. Well, we got to a place where we got to a place where the victims became the bullies.
Right.
Okay. And so the victims, because there's always going to be bullies, guys. This is humanity for you. Go back and watch any historical thing. Humans are we like to mess with people. It's just the way it is. Yeah. Especially as groups.
Human nature is sort of messed up.
Yeah. So these ideologies went from high school into the colleges, right? And they were taught these things by people who became professors, who became teachers, who then taught that to the younger generations. And that's why we're stuck in this. And so people who didn't want to deal with it went out into industry.
Let me sum up what Shane just said. Bring bullies back.
Well, like I said, there's always bullies.
No, but bring physical bullies back.
Well, here's what happens. So once the victims get out of control, become the bullies, the people with the opposite ideology, it's a big circle.
It's a big pendulum. It's pendulum.
It just happens over and over again, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the way. Go back and read some history. The reason why history is so important is because this stuff has already happened in different forms, in different ways. You can talk about, the German party we can't name, and even though we're not, I guess it doesn't matter, we're not monetized, but you can talk about all the ideologies of the past, and they're just rinsed and repeated as something different and new now, whether you're hippies, whether you're, yuppies, fascists, or yes, it just socialists, the names change.
Yeah. So just to button this up before we go into Rumble rants, this right here, this is a first grade school. Not sure why I'm not sure why there's a trans flag in a first grade school. I'm not sure why we're explaining what lesbian and gay is literally on the board. Why are we asking what people's pronouns are? What does this have to do with curriculum in a school? What does it have to do with any of this?
Well, you know why? Because they feel like it should be taught. because it's important to them, right? And the trans movement looks at themselves as another equal gender, or whether it's gay, man, or woman, they look at themselves in equal. They look at themselves as like almost like a race, right? That's how they see themselves. And so they feel like kids need to be taught about that. The problem is we haven't quite figured out if that's the case yet. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know how much of it is genetic and how much of it is psychological. We don't know yet. So we're still trying to figure out. We need to be kind to everybody, but we definitely don't need to be teaching our kids that stuff yet.
And last clip, for the people that say that pronouns aren't mandatory, in a lot of places, a lot of the coastal states, especially in the USSD, and my wife works in it, pronouns are mandatory. Here's a short clip.
School district, all right? Let's get us started. I will ask you to introduce yourself. So I'm going to name you. And once I name you, please state your pronouns and the position you have in Beaverton School District, all right? Let's get us started.
So what's interesting, too, is one good thing that COVID did was it forced a lot of these meetings into like Zoom calls where they could be recorded. And all of a sudden we can see a lot of the crazy ideology that these government and state positions have, which I found interesting. Like a lot of the craziest stuff we've seen that came out and the crazy ideology that some of these, community leaders have and push. Well, those were only revealed because all of a sudden people were recording Zoom calls. Those would have never been revealed had those people been in private meetings like they were before.
Well, and what happened with private meetings? Parents went to private meetings, right? School board meetings, and they would complain. And then what happened? The FBI started showing up at their houses.
Right.
So, they were, the government was supporting the crush.
Right.
So you're right. It is a good thing.
So let's talk about Rumble Rats. I got Rumble Rats. Rumble Rats. JC Chappity coming in. Thank you, JC.
Thanks. Thank you, Chappy.
He says, wait a second. There he goes. He says, for $5, let's go. It's the Big Brain Saturday.
My brain doesn't feel very big today.
Yeah. He also says, only feet doesn't count as a job, Brian. That's a joke. Like OnlyFans, only feet.
The only feet? Is that a thing?
I'm not sure, but I'm going to find out. I have some good looking feet.
I don't.
And about the pronouns, he says, my problem with the focus on pronouns is that it spreads like a virus to those who are weak or mentally ill.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think also just people who are weak in general, like, you don't want to fight back against the status quo. You're like, I'm him,
Yeah.
And it's like, not everybody wants to fight. Some people just want to go with the flow. And the problem is most people are like that.
Right.
And so that's how we end up with a very small group of people carrying such a large voice.
Right. Okay, let's talk about the hearings, my dude.
I watched every minute of every one of these.
I know you would. Okay.
I can't help myself.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's what you do, So here's a brief introduction. We'll start with RFK because he was the most popular. Here's his intro. We won't play the entire thing, but I want you to see the first minute or two of this.
I'm humbled to be sitting here today as President Trump's nominee to oversee the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I want to thank...
Oh, God, I got to stop for a second. I love RFK. I think what he's doing is good. I like the ideas for cracking down on Big Pharma. I hate Big Pharma.
Here comes the bad. Go ahead.
It's so hard to listen to him.
I knew you would have a hard time with that.
It's so hard, bro. Yeah, I find myself clearing my throat and I can't control it.
Yeah, you have to listen to him a lot. So if you just listen to a lot of his stuff and you get used to it. Well, at least I do. But then again, I don't care about quality when it comes to sound and stuff like that. So maybe it's more of an issue for you. Hey, listen, it's not just a problem for you. It's apparently a problem for his nephew, who has been making fun of his voice on social media recently.
Oh my God.
Oh, dude, did you see some of those clips?
No, I didn't.
It's horrific. Look up Kennedy family members making fun of him
on Twitter.
They're literally like copying wherever they're copying his voice and making fun of him.
It's his nephew?
I think it's his nephew, or it's his cousin, or it's one of his relatives. His cousin, who is JFK's daughter, Caroline, she actually, during this, they submitted a video of her talking and basically calling him a predator and talking about what an awful individual he is. I can't believe that you would do that to one of your family members.
Oh, it's his grandson.
It's not his grandson, right?
That's what it says, yeah.
No, not his grandson.
Yeah, it says, oh, I'm sorry. No, yeah, I read that wrong.
That would be like, I'd take his ass to the woodshed.
Yeah.
If it was my grandson.
I can't find the clip. We'll find them later on.
Oh, there's tons of them out there. So, anyways, the whole point is that this he's got a condition for his voice. It's, it could happen to any of us. It's actually happened to multiple members of the Kennedy family. And, this guy has a very tragic past. Not only was his father murdered, right? His father was murdered, but he had a really troubled youth, was addicted to, I think heroin.
Oh, rough.
And, but he's been clean and sober for 40 years, and he went out and he tried to make the world a better place. And, what speaks to me about Robert Kennedy Jr. is that he just speaks common sense to me. And what bothered me most about this entire thing is that, and I hate it when politicians do this, and I don't know why we allow them to do this, but they take pieces of what people say and then spit it back out as fact, and they take it out of context to make you look like you've done something wrong.
Yeah, or that thing they were doing to him and Kash, where they're like, yes or no question, Mr. Patel. But then they ask a detailed question that is impossible to answer with a yes or no answer.
Right. They're trying to trap you,
right,
or make you look. So it's just, I hate the disingenuousness. I hate the politics of it. This is politics. This is why politics are so ugly and dirty, because politics isn't about having common sense or doing the right thing. It's all about lying to get what you want. And do we teach our children to lie to get what they want? Why do the leaders of our country, why are they allowed to do that?
Right.
People's hypocrisy needs to be called out. If you're going to have, and here's what's really sad. They had meetings with all these people behind closed doors before this public hearing.
Right.
So behind closed doors, it was all honest.
Right.
Right. They talked to each other. They had these conversations. But the moment it goes in front of the public, it becomes a show. Well, why can't we because then the problem is if they actually told the truth, then he would seem like more of a reasonable person, and then he might get, the public would support him going in. And that's what the
public already supports him. But yeah, you're right. All right, let's listen a little bit of him, and then we're going to see some of that hypocrisy in full view. Here we go.
President Trump for entrusting me to deliver on his promise to make America healthy again. I also want to thank Cheryl and Kik and Bobby and all of my other children who are here today, and all the many members of my large extended family for the love that they...
Look how big his family is. My God.
Yeah, he's got a big family.
One of his family has a what I call a party haircut.
It's you mean business in the front, party in the back?
Yep. He has a good old boy right there. Cheryl Hines, look at her, man, from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Am I the only one who didn't know she was married to him?
No, I knew it. She's been very good at hiding that fact. Like,
I had no idea. Cheryl Hines, she's a very interesting woman. I love her on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. But I had no idea. And I know, I'm involved in this world. I can't believe I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay.
They have so generously shared. Ours has always been a family that has been involved in public service, and I look forward to continuing that tradition. My journey into the issue of health began with my career as an environmental attorney, working with hunters and fishermen and mothers in the small town in the Hudson Valley and along.
I'm going to summarize this for him.
I was like, where are we going?
Yeah, I can't listen to this whole thing. I'll summarize it. Yeah, he's been working his whole life toward this goal of making America healthy again. Let's just stop. Let's just full stop that.
Well, he has sort of, yeah. Well, he's always wanted to help people,
right?
But this whole thing where the whole thing with how do we want to say this properly here? The whole thing with, kids getting injections and that whole thing, that actually started, a couple of decades ago, 2 or 3 decades ago. And he's slowly been kind of, trying to say, listen, we need better science. We need to make sure that here's what he's saying that nobody wants to say. We need to make sure the government isn't allowing private businesses to break the rules and that it might be harming people, but none of us know because they're hiding it. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. And what drove me nuts is that some of these people were trying to paint him as the corrupt one.
But that's
And we're going to get to those clips. When we get to those clips, like, are you going to take stop? You're trying to get him to say he's not going to sue the health company. That's one of his biggest arrows in his quiver is being able to sue them for wrongdoing. So of course he's not going to say he's not going to sue them. Get out of here.
And when you find out that she's got the second most donations from Big Pharma.
Yeah, when she goes, would you take money from the Big Pharma? Like, you first, bitch. Maybe you stop. But we'll get to that. I'm sorry. I'm jumped ahead a little here. All right, let's look at the Senator Mark Warner, who, and you know what? Drew D said it best. Mark Warner is a disgusting scumbag. I can't stand the dude. Yeah, me neither. This guy is an absolute.
He has a very punchable face here.
Oh, he's so punchable. He is so punchable. Here we go.
You want to immediately get rid of 600 NIH workers on job one.
Yes. Absolutely.
If they're not doing their job.
If they're not doing their job, go away. Yeah. This isn't hard. This is not hard.
On day one. When we had our meeting, you said you actually like to get rid of 2,200 people from HHS. Which offices are you going to start cutting and riffing these 2,200?
Oh my God. He is so punchable. He is so punchable right here, dude.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We don't agree with violence, just to be clear.
We don't, but man.
At the same time, but why? Okay, but let's say why he is. Let me tell you why he is. Because he's being disingenuous.
Yeah, totally.
I would like to see a clip where it's actually more specific to that. This is not one of those situations where it matters. Like, this is arguable. Getting rid of people is arguable. What's not arguable is when he talks about specific things he said and takes that out of context. That's the stuff that's seriously punchable.
Yeah. Listen to RFK's response.
The workers' fund.
Senator, there's 200 political appointees that are changed during every administration.
So if you got rid of those 200 political appointees, you're not going to replace them with your political appointees.
Well, President Biden this year changed 3,000 employees at HHS. 3,750.
So 2,200. What departments are you going to pick them from?
Well, the same as President Biden did when he changed 3,000 out.
Let me just, I'm down to a minute 30. The chairman's been generous.
That's what they always say. Whenever they get caught,
a couple minutes over.
They always say,
they do that.
I want my time back.
Oh yeah,
time. I don't have much time.
Oh, I screwed up. I tried to get this guy, and he got me in a lie. I'm running out of time.
That's a key. Like, if you guys are ever watching these, and I watch most of them. If you're ever watching them, anytime they start asking for their time back or they start talking about how they only have so much time left, they've been got. That's usually what happens.
Right. You've been got. Yeah.
So let's just answer. This, I hope, since you're asking to become the top healthcare official in the United States from HHS. Huge ramifications.
Bobby's like,
and part of this job is to be the senior advisor to the president on health issues. So when we're looking at this purge and we're looking at laying off workers, when we're looking at potentially the president's illegal offer to try to buy out federal employees, which I would say to any federal employees, think twice.
Look, are we talking about his appointment right now? Are we talking about a completely separate thing? Because you know what these douchebags do? They're not actually trying to do their job. They're trying to get easy clips for their social media so they can keep pushing for their next election. They don't care about actually doing their job. They care about getting gotcha 1-minute clips for TikTok.
Well, they're trying to win for themselves. Okay, and that's the difference. That's why Trump is in office, because even though Trump may be trying to win for himself, he's also trying to win for America, at least as equally. Whereas these guys, they don't want to do anything. They just want to get reelected. Some of these guys have been in office for 40 years.
Oh yeah, when you hear the word career politician, it's like the vast majority of their life, they have existed solely on the taxpayers' money.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
All right.
Has this individual in his business world ever fulfilled his contracts or obligations to any workers in the past? But if you are in this position, will you pledge that you will not fire federal employees who work on food safety, work on trying to preventing things like salmonella?
Senator, there are 91,000 employees.
So that
this is what I wanted to get to. I'm sorry I had such a long setup. Will you agree not to fire? And he goes, there are 91,000 employees. Of course, people will be fired. What a ridiculous thing to try to get him to commit to. That's insane.
Are you sure we don't need 91,000 employees?
You know what, Shane? If I was a betting man, I would say probably not.
Well, we might.
Jesus. Okay.
Americans.
Let me get to Warren. I'm sorry.
Trump.
So,
Oh wait, no. I want to. You gotta see this chick too. Oh God. Whoa. Here we go. This is Senator Catherine Cortez Masto from Nevada, Democrat.
It doesn't matter that you're before us. It could be anybody coming before us as long as they're a rubber stamp for this administration and disregarding your beliefs and what you think. I guess my question to you is, if it really is fundamental to what you believe, how do you live with that? How do you address those issues as you're moving forward,
You want me to
knowing
answer
that
the
it's going to
question,
harm
Senator?
Americans?
I love that
You
part.
want me to answer the question?
They won't let him answer.
No, I'm asking you.
Okay. President Trump has asked me
Okay.
to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again.
That's enough, dude. In order to get confirmed or at least deal with these people in these hearings now, like you have to have your full wits about you, because you basically have a panel of people that are all vying for a clippable gotcha moment, and it's just you.
Well, you know what they tell them before they go in, right? So if here's the trick. Basically, you're there for a firing squad, okay, and hopefully you got enough people on your side of the party, right, the other side of the party, who's going to back you up and support you, but you got to take it. Like, you got to take it, and you got to be respectful. And if you can't do that, and this is one of the other things that they're trying to do, they're trying to get him off his game. They're trying to make him look angry. They're trying to get him mad so that he will make himself unappointable.
Right.
That's the whole trick of this thing. This was about his beliefs on abortion.
Right.
That's what this lady was talking about, which has nothing to do with what he's doing, but she wanted to know why he was flip-flopping his position. And when he was trying to explain it, she wouldn't let him.
Right.
So
no, because the second you let him explain, she loses her gotcha moment.
Right. She loses it because now it's made sense. And what he was trying to say was, he's always been pro-choice, but abortion's unfortunate. And two things can be true. Right?
100%.
Two things can be true. You can believe in pro-choice and still think that abortion is wrong.
Yeah.
You still can. You don't have to be on one hill or the other.
Yep.
I can, as a man, I can do that because I'm not the one having the kids. And it's not my kids. If it was my kids, there's no abortions happening. But if somebody else wants to have abortions, that's on them, the way I look at it.
Right. I pretty much feel the same way. Like, I think it's wrong. I think it's reprehensible. But again, I'm not these people. That's on them.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the Senator
You
Warren.
said that.
This is the best one.
This is the best one. Senator.
I don't want her to ever leave office because she's the most entertaining one of all of them to watch.
Elizabeth Warren. She really is not good at her job. She's really bad at her job, but
There's a DEI hire for you.
Oh, well, according to her, yeah. Unfortunately, though, because she is now a household name for a lot of people, it's a lot easier to stay in power as long as you don't totally screw up. You can be inept for the rest of your life and stay in that position because
name recognition is big.
Because name recognition, right?
Yeah.
So here is, by the way, she's extremely corrupt, and it doesn't take a whole lot. Like you can Google and go back 10 years and find corruption after corruption after corruption that she's never called to the mat on. So the
Well,
fact,
in fairness, almost all of them are.
sure, right. But the fact that she's up there assuming or threatening or foreseeing his corruption is insane.
Well, it was a weird argument. It was a weird argument to make because she ended up arguing on both sides of the argument.
She did.
She argued against Pharma, for Pharma, against him. It was really a weird argument, and I think he got confused in the middle. Let's see.
He's like, I don't know I think you've had too many seed oils.
Now you're making fun of him too.
I can't help it. I can't.
You know why? Because you're about 1.5 years from that voice.
I know. I better stop making fun of him. Or in like 5 years, I'm like, hey, bro, is that you? Is that you? How you doing? Huh? Lifelong smoker? Okay, here we go.
President Trump asked you to, quote, clean up corruption and conflicts. Sounds great. You've said that.
My God, Warren.
That woman is broiling with anger and frustration below. You can see.
Hysterical, man. It's crazy.
You will, quote, slam shut the revolving door between government agencies and the companies they regulate. That also sounds great.
Yeah.
So here's an easy question. Will you commit that when you leave this job, you will not accept compensation from a drug company, a medical device company, a hospital system, or a health insurer for at least 4 years, including as a lobbyist or a board member?
Can you just repeat the last part of the question? Can I commit
You're
to
not going to take money from drug companies in any way, shape, or form.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, pause it.
That moment right there.
Okay, so pause it, right? So here's what's interesting. He sues those companies.
Mm-hmm.
Part of suing those companies is the drug companies or whatever company she's talking about have to pay his law firm or whoever's law firm that he's speaking on, and he gets money from that.
I.e. take money.
So taking money from them by punishing them. Now, she's arguing that he's taking money from Big Pharma, but here's the difference. Big Pharma's donating money to her. He's punishing them and they have to pay him.
Right.
I don't understand what she's arguing here.
Yeah, Big Pharma is willingly giving money to her,
Right.
so that she will lobby and pass legislation that favors them.
Right.
He is actively and forcibly taking it from them.
Right.
He is taking it from them for their wrongdoings.
This is how stupid she is. She thinks that's the same thing.
Right. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
It's
right?
crazy. Okay.
Let's keep.
And when he says, "Who, me?" Because what he wanted to say was, "How are you asking me this question right now?"
It didn't make any sense. It was like she's asking on both sides. Okay, good.
All right.
Yes, you.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to commit to that.
Okay, good. That's what I figured. I said it's an easy question to start with. And I think you're right on this
I don't
question.
think any of them want to give me money, by the way.
There it is.
Let's keep.
Unlike you,
Yes.
Warren, they don't want to give him money.
Right.
When he gets money from them, it's because he took it.
At this moment, I'm looking at this going, she doesn't know where she's going with this.
She doesn't.
She's gone down the wrong hole.
Yeah, she's upside down.
She does this frequently. It's kind of entertaining to watch.
It is kind of entertaining.
Keep going.
I'll
All right, that's it for her. Let's see if there's.
Oh, is that the whole thing?
No, there's.
That's
the whole one. I do have a Bernie Sanders clip too.
You conspiracy call.
Okay.
Of the number one taker of money from Big Pharma and big medical.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, some of what Bernie says I agree with, but let's not pretend like this lifelong political vampire is in any way safe from corruption. He has been taking money from these companies for decades, and almost only recently are people starting to realize that Big Pharma is this huge, massive problem that we've been ignoring for 30 years. It's actually hyper corrupt. We're the only, I think we're one of 2 countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical companies to run ads on television. Why is that? Because once you buy an ad,
they pay a lot of money.
Right. Once you buy an ad at Fox or CNN, then now Fox or CNN have to treat you with a little bit of kid gloves because you might strip the $1 billion a year you give them in ad revenue. Do people actually sorry.
You're full Robert.
Do
Kennedy
people
speaking.
actually have to know about Valvatrix? Side effects could include dry mouth, sleepwalking, death, werewolfism. Right.
Walking in front of a car.
Walking in front of a car.
Hanging from a rope.
Yeah. Converting to Islam without your family's knowledge. No, look.
Fighting in the Ukraine war.
No, the reason they run these ads, these super generic, basic ads, and have all this crazy legal mumbo jumbo at the end, is because they aren't trying to advertise to a customer. They're trying to buy the network's silence.
Exactly.
They're not trying to get Joe, Johnson to know about some dry mouth medication. They just want to buy the silence of the reporters that, if they did their jobs, can put them out of business.
You tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market.
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
leadership. Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing?
All right, calm down, Bernie. Jesus.
They try to put him in a corner, and this is what, if you watch these things, it's always the same.
There's...
They want them to get them on the record to say yes or no about something so that they can attack them later. That's all it is, trying to get you to force. That's why most of these people won't take a position, even though you're like, well, just tell them. The problem is if you tell them, they're going to find a way to tell half-truths to make you look worse in the future. It's a terrible game.
And that's the rub. So, what's funny is I have so many more clips, but we have to talk about some of the other confirmations first. I have more for RFK. Like that was the best one for me. The most enlightening one was the RFK.
By the way, I do think he's going to be confirmed.
Yeah,
I do. I really believe.
I think
all three.
They're all going to be confirmed. Yeah, I agree with you.
Tulsi's the only one on the fence.
Given freedoms and.
So speaking of Tulsi Gabbard, this is Tulsi Gabbard's intro, and we'll be quick with Tulsi.
Is it just me? I really like the little silver streak.
Yeah, no, she looks like Rogue from X-Men.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard is a handsome woman.
I'm honored and grateful.
What?
Well said.
Yeah.
Grateful to President Trump for his trust and confidence in nominating me to serve our country as the Director of National Intelligence at a time when trust in the intelligence community, unfortunately, is at an all-time low. Chuck Schumer admitted a few years ago, quote, "You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you." For too long, faulty, inadequate, or weaponized intelligence have led to costly failures and the undermining of our national security and God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. The most obvious example of one of these failures is our invasion of Iraq based upon a total fabrication or complete failure of intelligence.
We're not going to show the whole thing. What is that?
I mean, we got, and this seems like a lot.
Yeah.
She talks a lot about.
Yeah, she does talk a lot. But I just wanted to talk about Tulsi because and I'm not saying this because I'm a Trump guy. I'm saying this because by the way, she was a Democrat. So like if I was going to have a problem with someone, it would probably be with a Democrat. No, I think she actually is good for this position. I think that she should be confirmed, and it's not just because Trump picked her. If Trump didn't, if it was a complete, if Kamala won and she was going for that, I would still be rooting for her.
Well, we need watchdogs.
Right.
So that's why, if you think about it, why all these people are being confirmed, we need watchdogs, because what's happened is all of our government agencies are being weaponized, as I've said before, through politics.
Right.
And so the reason why Trump is appointing all these people is not only are they loyal to him, not only have they earned the right. Like Tulsi, switched sides, went through a lot. All these people have earned it, but they're going to be watchdogs against rooting out this political. There, no politics. Let me tell you, when I was in the military, there was no political rhetoric. Each person believed what they believed, and they voted the way. But we didn't talk about it. Okay, we didn't. Military guys for Trump, or it was Clinton at the time. Military guys for Clinton or against Clinton. We all had our opinions, right? But it wasn't a politicized. We were there to do our jobs.
Right.
And when it came time to vote, we all voted, and then we moved on and did something else. We didn't care who was left, right, center. None of that stuff mattered.
Right.
And everything is becoming so politicized nowadays, and they need to root all of that out of government. Government should have no politics.
I agree. 100%. All right, let's talk about, and let me know what you guys think about Tulsi Gabbard. But let's talk about Kash Patel. Shane, you want to?
Oh, just real quick before you leave the Tulsi Gabbard thing.
Sure.
So one of the big problems with her thing was that they kept coming after her about Snowden. They wanted her to say the words that Snowden was a traitor.
Yeah, I tried to find that clip, and I was like, I have such a hard time, and I didn't want to watch the entire thing.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of it. Almost every person came at her with it.
There's a lot. Yeah.
So, and what happened was she would say what he did was wrong. She would say that what he did was wrong. He released information he shouldn't have. I'm going to make sure that never happens again. That's what she kept saying. And they kept trying to force her to say, well, just say the words. Why can't you say he's a traitor to our country? And unfortunately, both Republicans and Democrats have the same feeling about Snowden. Whether or not you believe that Snowden is a traitor or not to our country, what Snowden did, many of you guys may or may not know, what Snowden did is it was a military person, a guy working for the military, who released information because he tried to whistleblow and he was basically stopped. So then he went, because he felt so strongly about it, he went around the legal ways and he did it illegally,
right?
Which is why he lives in Russia now.
Right.
So what Tulsi did is, for a long time, she was fighting. She actually tried to get a bill to get him pardoned, because I think she felt like, and she can't say this in these confirmation hearings, but I think she felt that even though the way he did it was wrong, because he didn't have another outlet with which to do it legally at that time, he went ahead and did it illegally, because what was happening, and by the way, our government was doing things that it shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah, super shady.
And spying on people and doing really, really bad things. And he brought that to light. So he, in her mind, and I think in a lot of our minds, he was just trying to stop it. He was trying to solve the problem. So I think she doesn't want to get stuck, because if now she gets stuck calling him a traitor, now she's pigeonholed into this situation. And it really makes her look like a bad flip-flopper, because she pushed so hard for him to be expunged. Now, the problem is, now that Snowden has been, he's a Russian, he's basically part of Russia. Who knows what he's told them or given them or helped him with? Like, it was a huge mistake to go to Russia, dude.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
That's not where you go if you got a problem. So I understand the frustration of these people, but once again, they're playing politics, trying to get her to call him a traitor when it's not necessary. She's not there to leak information. She's going to be a good asset. She's a lieutenant colonel in the reserves. It's just a shame.
Yeah. All right. This is Kash Patel. Kash, this is a small clip for him.
Patel, you supposedly know something about grand juries. I just went to the DOJ website to get language. I'm quoting it. Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 6E prohibits most persons present during the proceedings from disclosing what transpired inside the grand jury room. However, the proscription does not apply to witnesses. Do you now, as a grand jury witness, authorize this committee access to a transcript of your own testimony?
Senator, I authorize this committee to get whatever is appropriate and lawful, as I've said before.
Specifically including the transcript of your grand jury testimony, which you have the authority to authorize us to obtain.
Well, I don't know if I singularly have that authority. I don't think that's how grand jury testimony works.
You
Department
do.
of Justice.
You do, because you are the witness who can do that.
There's also a court order on that case, sir.
Separately, you can get grand jury testimony
So,
by court order.
pause this.
Yeah.
Okay. So this happened, by the way, over and over and over again.
Right.
And let's give you some of the backstory. So when President Trump was raided at Mar-a-Lago, Kash Patel was either there or involved somehow or has information on it. And he had to give a testimony at the grand jury, at the trial, or at the grand jury testimony in front of the grand jury for this. But the problem is none of that was public information. So he's been saying over and over again, no, I want everyone to know about it.
Right.
Okay. So listen, this is another one of those situations where they're both saying the same thing, but they don't really want the information. They just want him to say that, to say what it is.
Right.
He's saying, go get it. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and talk about it. Go get it. And they're like, no, just you get it. Give it to us. Tell us. So it's just a weird, like, posturing thing. And I think the Democrats think they're going to get information that they can use against Trump. And he's like, no, I don't care.
Yeah, there was another clip that I wanted to use that I couldn't because freaking Jimmy Kimmel showed it. And now he just owns that clip now for some reason, which is stupid.
That's weird.
Where they were trying to, gotcha him on the files or the documents that Trump may or may not have declassified when he left.
Right.
And they just kept asking the same question over and over and over and over again. And the left tried to play it like it was some kind of gotcha moment because he kept saying the same exact thing. Like, and to my knowledge, he declassified that. But did he? Yes, to my knowledge.
Just tell us here now. It says you can on the website. I mean, how does he know what he's not going to take your word for it.
Right.
He said, I'll confer with counsel. Why? You can tell us right now. It's just the stupid political posturing that we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Kash Patel was the one who came closest to being disrespectful of everyone. He was a little bit, this guy is not going to take any shit. Let's put it this way.
No,
he's the kind of guy who's not going to take any crap. And he came very close to being a little bit disrespectful, which they would have loved for him to do.
Speaking of, here's his response.
I authorize this committee to lawfully obtain any records that they are appropriately allowed to get.
And you're speaking in circles now because we're only lawfully.
No, you're speaking in circles. Yeah. No. Kash is literally answering the same exact way every time. Right. You are the one speaking in circles, sir. Goodness gracious. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's enough with the confirmations. My God.
They were interesting though. It was a good week.
It was never ending with these people. It's crazy. Crazy. Okay. So the thing I didn't do a ton of research on. I saw the videos of the airplane crashes. I have little opinion of this because I don't know anything about airplane crashes, but I do have an interesting, I guess, insight from someone who flies Blackhawks. And so I wanted to show you this clip, and then I'll read the tweet. So here's the crash.
The plane's coming from the left.
Yep. That's horrible, by the way. Horrible.
Yeah, there was a ice skating team, kids on that thing.
That sucks.
It's terrible.
So someone asked, for people that have piloted Blackhawks, can you explain? And here's what a former Blackhawk pilot says. Former Black pilot here, I'll try to describe it for you. Imagine you are looking at the world through a toilet paper tube, and everything is just different shades of green and black with stars and ground lights hard to I can't say the word.
Differentiate.
Thank you. And aircraft lights that look the same as those. Then you have 3 different radio frequencies going off in your ears. Then you are trying to navigate without any peripheral vision. And you are trying to keep the aircraft under control. And if you are trying to keep watch for all that traffic, not just one plane, because there are several in the sky at once, and you're trying to mentally keep track of them. And you get distracted for like 5 seconds or your focus goes elsewhere, like your instructor pilot asked you a question about airspace regulations. Boom, you're all dead. So here's my problem with this. That seems really hard. Like everything, if what he says is correct, that seems incredibly difficult to deal with. And do we have the technology yet to make it so that they don't have to deal with looking through toilet paper tubes and only seeing shades of green and black with giant contrasty lights? That seems so dangerous to me.
Well, okay. I mean, that was a hyper look at what he's talking about. It's not literally a toilet paper tube. Okay. So you're right. You're looking at your controls. You're trying to listen to it is confusing. It's one of the busiest airports in the world. We don't know exactly what happened here, but we do know the Black Hawk was too high. We do know that they were asked, instead of being given directions to move, they were asked if they see the plane. There's some believe that the pilot of the Black Hawk was looking at the wrong plane, didn't see that plane coming, and they were too high. Both were trying to, I believe, get to the airplane was trying to land. I believe the Black Hawk was also coming in to land. So as you can see, they're very low to the ground, both of them.
Right.
And it's just I think it's just an accident. I think it's an unfortunate situation. And it's possible that something happened in concert with the air traffic controllers not giving good enough direction. And also perhaps that the Black Hawk pilot not making a good choice. It's the only people apparently who did the right thing here is the people in the airplane that were coming in for landing.
Right.
So yet to be determined. It's just, it's a tragedy for everybody. I think there was one survivor. I haven't confirmed that. I think there's one survivor. It's just a real tragedy and it's a shame, but hopefully, we can keep that from happening again.
There's been a couple plane crashes and recently, and people that hate this administration, that suffering from TDS, are trying to paint it as a Donald Trump problem all of a sudden, which is a weird.
Well, yeah. So this is part of those half-truth things again, Brian. So Trump put a freeze on funding. Like literally the next day, the accident happens and everybody's going, see, you put a freeze on funding and this is what happens. Planes start crashing. And it's like nothing could, obviously a reasonable person will know nothing could happen that quickly. So then what does the other side do? They go to, well, wait a second. Didn't you guys just DEI hire all of your air traffic controllers? Didn't you just say there's too many white people applying for these jobs? So that now it becomes, you see what I'm saying? Instead of it being a tragedy where we all come together, find out what wrong and fix it, now it becomes a finger pointing thing where probably neither side is correct. Even if you're not a white person, I'm sure that you can learn to be an air traffic controller.
Yeah.
So
just to be clear, okay. There's only white people applying for this job. These positions are generally in places where the population is mostly white. And remember this, white people can be like anything. Like you can have a lot more white people because
I'm not sure that statement's true, just by the way. Most airports are in the inner cities, so that's actually probably not true.
No. I'm not saying. No, I'm not.
You said that it's in.
I didn't mean geographically. I apologize.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, a white person can be anyone with light skin. It doesn't matter what your heritage is, and so the majority of people in this country could be classified as that. So you're asking to hire people from a minority of individuals to do a job that requires years of training sometimes. It doesn't make any sense to ignore qualified candidates based on skin color, and I would argue that it's racist. It is racist.
100%. Listen, maybe you should work harder. Fine. If you look in a room and it's like you got 50 white people applying for air traffic and there's no black people or Asian people or anybody else applying, you got to, instead of at that moment saying, okay, get rid of all these people, go find me some people of color, ask yourself this: are we getting the information out that these jobs are available to those people so that they can come in and apply for it?
Right.
That's the question you need to ask yourself. The moment isn't to find me some people of color so we can hire. The answer is get more people of color to be interested and want to apply for the jobs. That way that there's people can be picked based on merit as opposed to based on skin color. Right. That's where we need to be.
Yeah, I think it was Bill Burr who says, you know what I have a problem with? There's not enough white people playing basketball.
We don't want more white people playing basketball.
We need
I'm just
more
saying.
white. Why?
Basketball is a great meritocracy. Listen, sports is the best meritocracy there is. Okay, if you're great at a sport, they're gonna pick the best people,
right?
Because that's the way it works. Listen, all of business should be like sports,
right?
Meritocracy,
100%. Well, speaking of white people, let's talk about Selena Gomez.
Okay, I like that transition.
Because I know Selena Gomez her last name is technically Hispanic, but if you looked at her, I would assume she was white. That's what I was saying earlier. Like it's really the skin color really determines your what you are, not your heritage. For some reason in this country, it's very odd.
It's true.
So Selena Gomez, she's deleted this, by the way. This was on her Instagram. She deleted it after going, well, she also deleted it with a statement. I shouldn't have cried. I should have been standing proud, and I don't want my brand to be affected by the people that disagree with me. So she spinelessly just removed the crying post. We're going to watch this really quickly. It's only 30 seconds. And then we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to see some who's actually being deported and some of the cause and effect in relation to that.
I just want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked.
I want to push back on that, by the way.
So is she?
All her people. She was a Disney child. She is as American as it gets. She doesn't even speak Spanish. Stop acting like they're your people. That's very odd.
Are you an American or are you Mexican?
Right. She is.
Are you American or are you Guatemalan? Are you? And this is a really important.
She's American. She doesn't even speak Spanish.
Yeah, my heritage goes back to obviously white people places, England and different things like that. But I don't identify myself as English or Scottish or Irish. I identify myself as an American. This girl has been here her entire life. She probably has relatives from Mexico, and she's got the little Mexican flag, if you notice.
Right.
The little Mexican flag there.
I'm sorry, Mexican flag.
She probably has people from heritage from those places, but this is a big problem, especially in Southern California, where people are driving around not with American flags, but with Mexican flags.
Oh, and I got video clips of the protesters. No American flags there. It's all Mexican flags. In fact, if you didn't tell me where that was being filmed, I would assume it was Mexico.
What country do you live in? Where do you want to live? Right?
Which is so crazy. If you love it so much, why aren't you there?
Well, and that's what people say all the time. But the reality is
because
they want to. Let me tell you.
You hate your country enough to leave. You hate your situation.
No, they don't hate their country. They hate their situation. They want to bring their country.
Where did the situation come from, Shane?
They want to bring their country with them.
Yes, and the culture that put them in this situation in the first place.
They don't want to be Americans. They want to bring Mexico here.
Which makes sense.
That's the difference now than it was in the past. People would come here wanting to be Americans. Now, because America has been taught to be a bad place, America's evil, right? This is what we've been taught. This is what people believe. This is what our young people believe.
Darth Vader and the Empire, yeah.
Right? Trust me, go spend some time out there in the world in these other countries and find out if America's a bad place. It's not. You'll be there for a week, cry, and then come home. I'm telling you right now. And these people come from these places, and instead of coming here going, oh my God, I want to be an American. I want to live in America. I want to benefit from America, but I want to be a Mexican.
And we're speaking generally because there's plenty of people that don't feel that way, but the people that are protesting and acting out,
majority of young people coming here now aren't embracing to be Americans. They still embrace their heritage and where they came from.
That's like someone in the Palisades leaving their house that's on fire, getting to a home that's going to take them in, and then they start lighting fires to make it more like their home. It makes no sense.
That's pretty. That's a pretty far.
It makes no sense to flee someplace that is a problem, so you can have a better life, but then take that problem with you and embrace it like it's your hair, like it's your.
You didn't light fires back in the Palisades. It's not. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not the same.
Like it's your identity. Like your identity is wrapped up entirely in this place that you felt you needed to flee from.
Yeah, you can be proud of your culture, your heritage.
Sure.
But you need to embrace the values of where you live.
Hey, look, the fire analogy was not great. Okay.
I was like,
I was trying to come up with an analogy that was like recent and it didn't work. Whatever.
I get where you're going.
But you get what I'm trying to say.
I get it. Yeah.
So,
lighting fires.
Let's listen to the rest of this 15 seconds of Selena Gomez crying. By the way, she's a multimillionaire, FYI.
You would know by her backdrop.
I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do.
I know what you could do. Take some of the money.
Yeah.
That she has. She has a lot of it. And go help the people in Mexico.
Right. Or help the people who are coming in illegally come in legally.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, get them immigration lawyers, set up a fund.
You could.
You
That's
could
how you help your people.
Selena, you know what is not going to help? You putting crying videos on Instagram for about 7 minutes before your PR team says, you got to take that down, dude. Sales are hurting. No one came to your defense for a reason, because this is pathetic and cringe.
Well, and people aren't even sure I feel like it's probably real, but a lot of people question whether or not it's real. She's probably, I don't know why you would.
She's over $1 billion? That's what her net worth is? No way. It's hard
to. A lot of records, dude.
Wow.
Going on tour makes you a lot of money.
Wow. Okay, so she cries a bunch, right?
And the question is who? I mean, is she related to all of these rapists and people? I mean, I know not all people who've been in trouble are being deported. There are some people who are just here illegally that are being deported as well. But this came out like early when like the really hardcore people were getting pushed out, you know?
I did see some of the criminal reports. I think some of these people deserve to be helped. And I am volunteering to help this particular person stay in the country. I think she deserves it.
You're wrong in so many ways.
So this is what's funny. So yes, the people being deported right now, and I have a clip of what's her name talking about it. I don't know where it went, but it's vastly criminals. In fact, what they were doing was they were going to the states and saying, "Hey, let us know when people are coming out of prison. Let us know when Juan Gomez is coming out of prison. He is." Here illegally, he committed a felony, whatever the deal is. But a lot of the states, especially the sanctuary cities, were being like, we're not gonna tell you when. We're gonna just let them. We're gonna let them leave, and we're gonna protect them, and you have to find them on your own because they can't interfere with the Fed. Right. But of course, they're not gonna be assist. They're not gonna assist the federal government in taking a felon that's here illegally back to where it's crazy. So what happens, though, is the ICE then goes out to then locate these people, and they end up locating people with him that are also here illegally.
Right.
So ICE is going after criminals, but someone said this on stream, but because they're going into a home and they're not getting the assistance from the cities
or a workplace
and states, right, or workplace, because they have to go in there, they're doing what the video game world we call AOE damage.
That's actually a good description.
Right. They're going after one person, but those people are surrounded by other illegals. So while 78% of the people that they are deporting are all criminals, they're also catching other illegals in their nets at the same time.
And they said those people are going to go as well.
Right.
So the thing is like, yeah, you could be caught in the net, I guess, so to speak, of when you're fishing for the hardened criminals. If you're hanging out with the hardened criminals and you're here illegally, you are also breaking the law and you're going to leave.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
So the real question here isn't whether or not, you know, it's this is going to happen. The question becomes like, what happens if you've been here for 20 years? You know, what happens if you've been here for 20 years and, you know, you've had kids, they're now citizens, and you're just working and you're doing your thing. That's going to be a tough question to answer.
It is, yeah.
Like, because you've been here for 20 years, you're kind of paying taxes, you're working for the system. You know, I do think that if you've been here that long and you can prove that you've been here that long, then you need to be able to, there needs to be a path to citizenship for these people. You need to make everybody citizens.
I agree.
But if you've been
you
here,
can't reform a system that is currently leaking. You can't fix the boat if it's sinking. You got to get it. You got to get it in a harbor before you can fix the boat. So we need to close shop, close the border, stop that fire hose of people coming into the country illegally, and then you can work on immigration reform.
Well, and that's what's happened. So for the most part, the border is shut down. And I would say if you've come to this country illegally in the last 4 or 5 years, then you probably should go. You haven't been here long enough to put down roots. You came across during a time when you weren't supposed to, and you should have come in legally. And, I don't think there's a safe harbor for you. If you've been here for a decade and your kids are in schools and there needs to be a path for those people to become citizens. We can take more people into this country. We take 1 million people a year, I think a little over 1 million people a year and legally into this country. We can afford to absorb as long as we keep the border shut. And when the next Democrat group comes in, they don't just open the borders back up again.
They don't open the set, right?
That's the problem.
Yeah. Did you ever see that clip of AOC? She was like, she was talking to the current head of the border agency. I'm forgetting his name right now. He's a hilarious dude.
Oh, Homan?
Yeah, because he's so calm. He's like, well,
Tom Homan. Yeah,
we would never take children away from their mother. They'll all be deported together. He's so like matter of fact.
We'll deport both of them.
We'll deport them all. Yeah. We won't separate families. They can go.
Do you get upset when we put someone in jail when a parent's broken the law and they can't be with their kids because they're in prison?
I love it too when she went after him. She's like, "Sir, these are not criminals. They are asylum seekers." And he's like, "Well, then they should be going to the correct port of entry." Sir, that is not your call. He's like, actually, under section 973, he cites the actual law.
Yeah. He's great.
If they came into the country through an unauthorized port of entry, then they are in fact criminals. And she's like, she couldn't answer.
I try not to listen to a lot of AOC because I feel stupider somehow or more dumb every time I listen to her.
So I love AOC. She's my favorite. I hope she becomes president someday.
All right, there's one of us.
Yeah. I mean, it would just be a hilarious 4 years. I don't even know if it would be 4 years.
I don't even know it would be hilarious. It would be dangerous 4 years.
It would be like 2.5 years, and then everything would just explode.
Dude, she would be like Trump opposite. Like she would aggressively do everything Trump's doing, but the opposite way.
Yeah, I just want to be. I want to be alive for when she becomes president. I want to see that.
Let it be at the end.
Yeah, at the end of my life, hopefully. Yeah. All right, so I got a couple clips. So the deportations are happening. So this is what's weird. People are getting deported, but other people are also like, I'm not going to work because I don't want to get deported. Because they don't want to, because they're hanging out with people, they're hanging out with criminals, right? That are working in roofing jobs and whatever.
It's a fair point.
Right? So what's happening is, and the people that are complaining about this, they don't understand that they're self-owning themselves right now. So this guy right here, this guy right here is, and I'll play the clip, it's short. He's about to complain how there's nobody to work his job sites. Well, okay. Well, at the end of that, I have a question for you, Shane. So please hold that thought. Watch this.
Update on the ICE raids from the perspective of a general contractor. I just had a roofer completely cancel on my job because he is picking up the pieces from all of his other job sites that got raided, and the crews are just gone. So I'm in Fort Lauderdale. And this is a roofer that I've been working with for years. It's sub, it's labor, and I'm providing materials and working under my roofing license with my supervision. So it's how many of the roofers do it down here. And we were figuring out the final details, and I'm like, hey man, let's get that final number together. And I was kind of trying to figure out because he hadn't sent me the final price yet. And I'm like, what's going on, dude? And he finally wrote me just now, and he said, I have to walk from this job. I cannot physically complete it, because I am personally working on a number of roofs that the crews are just gone. So how is this helping us?
Well, I'll tell you.
Fuck. How is this helping us, Shane?
I'll tell you how it's helping us.
Yeah, how is it helping us? Go ahead.
Now you're going to have to pay people what they should be paid to do the job.
And
now you have to pay them a real wage.
No more slave labor, bro. No more you getting your general contractor's license and then using the broken backs of immigrants who don't know enough to make your money. I'm sorry, you're self-owning yourself now. You're acting like what? Like you're the righteous one, and the Trump and the ICE raids are evil. No, you said job sites. More than 2 job sites. That means plural. More than 2 of your job sites were raided by ICE. Why? Because you're hiring illegal aliens.
Yeah, you want to know why American citizens aren't working construction? Because they can't get jobs because they need wages to actually pay their taxes to live in this country.
Right.
They got to pay their taxes, man.
Right.
So that's the problem, is you can hire these illegal immigrants to come in for much less. This has been going on for a long, long time. And this is why a lot of people say they're doing the jobs that none of us want to do. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
We have no problem doing construction,
None.
mowing lawns, doing all the things. Now, there's one I will argue that most people don't want to do, and that's picking fruit in the farms. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, I mean, it's backbreaking work. I've done it. It's not something anybody wants to do for a career.
Hey, let's invent a robot to do that then.
Let's invent a robot to do it, or let's make a deal, right, where the people who do it get paid a reason. And actually, it's not a bad paying job, even if you're an illegal. They do pay people pretty well. But let's make an arrangement for people who are willing to do it to come in with a special work visa, and then maybe if they're here for a certain amount of time, they get a path to citizenship. There's a way to fix these problems.
But no, but the employer would not want that because then they have to pay taxes on that.
Well, tough shit.
Yes, that's how it works.
How it works. Right.
Hello?
As the employer, you're cheating the system. And let me tell you something. They're not all, and it's going away, by the way. So in Southern California, here's a great example. Let's say you want to hire someone to come clean your house. Right? Let's just say you don't want to do it. You're busy. You're working. You make enough money. You want to hire someone. You used to be able to hire illegal immigrants, right, to come in and clean your homes, and you probably pay them half what you'd pay, an American citizen to do it. And everybody was doing that. Well, guess what happened? All the American citizens stopped cleaning homes. So now all you have is illegal. Now what they figured out was, well, shit, you ain't got nobody to clean your house.
Right.
I want double. I want what I'm supposed to get paid.
You're 100% right. Because I lived that.
Yes.
When I first got married 22 years ago, it'll be 23 years this February 14th. I love my wife. I love you, babe.
Congratulations.
22 years ago, I remember I'm going to get someone to clean our house for our wedding anniversary. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I did it. And I hired an American company. I just looked up on Yellow Pages,
whatever,
which used to be a book you can look in and find companies, right?
A book?
There was a book. There was a physical book. It was huge.
Yellow Pages? And let your fingers do the walking?
Yeah, let your fingers do the walking. That's right. That's what that was. And I hired someone, and it cost me $125. But this is 22 years ago. $125. It was a fair amount of money back then. And this crew showed up with 3 women and all their supplies and vacuums. And they just handled my little 2-bedroom apartment top to bottom. It was pristine. My wife came home. She was thrilled. She had sex with me that night. I remember that very clearly. It was a great day. Well, that started something where I started hiring a different cleaning service every couple months to help my wife out and get everything organized. Even when I left from the apartment to the duplex, then to my house. And while my place got bigger, the price went up a little bit. And then I discovered, I'm not going to say her name. Who knows about ICE, but I discovered a woman. And let's just call her Selena because of Selena Gomez. I'm going to call her Selena.
Damn, she's a busy girl.
And she's $75. Now, I was used to paying between $125 and $150 every time for someone to clean my house. She was $75. And I just need you to buy me some cleaning supplies for your house. So I stocked my cleaning supplies. Came over. She was coming over every week. Man, I increased it from every couple months to every month, every couple weeks, because she was so affordable. And then I noticed something. The price started to go up.
Yeah.
One day it was $80. Then it was...
That's capitalism at its best, baby.
$95. And then she shows up with a friend. And now it's $120. And then a third person shows up. Yeah, now she has a crew. Now it's $175. She and her crew of talented women handle it in like an hour and a half flat, and just leave with almost $200 of my money. And I'm like, oh, I can't afford this anymore. And I had to stop. And now every Saturday after this show, I spend 6 hours cleaning my house because I can no longer afford it. Guess what? She figured out that there was no one else.
Well, yeah, that's what happened. They run all the other people. And now listen, it's nobody's fault but our own. We're all trying to save.
In no way am I throwing shade at her. I get it.
That's what she should have done.
Right. It's what she should.
That's what America. I mean, she's more American than most people.
That's American.
Right?
That's about as American as it gets. Right.
Right. The problem is people complaining that we need these people, right? Because we can't. So it'd be like you complaining. Let's say they took her before she was charging you a bunch of money. You complaining, oh, I just lost my $75 cleaning lady. What's wrong with America? I needed this. Nobody else will do it. That's not true. You had a whole crew of people doing it. You just don't want to pay as much.
Right.
That's on you.
By the way, I'm not saying I'm not saying that, because I realized that as an American, again, I'm an American too. So when I saw cheaper and cheaper options, I took them.
Right. Of course.
That's how it works. That's how it works, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
So, but that doesn't mean it's okay. And it doesn't mean that there's nobody that's willing to do those jobs. And the whole point, the reason why we brought this up in the first place was the argument is who's going to do these jobs, right? There was a whole movie made, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, where it was basically a day without a Mexican.
A day without a Mexican, right?
And somebody woke up, the white people woke up, and all the Mexicans were gone.
It was so racist. That movie was so racist.
Right. And it was like there was nobody mowing lawns. There was nobody cleaning houses. There was nobody working. Let me tell you who used to do those jobs. Our kids.
Right.
Our kids used to do those jobs. Our kids. I used to mow the lawn. Okay. My sister and I used to clean the house. I used to work at a fast food place.
Right.
Why? Because we used to teach our children how they were going to become and grow up and become adults and take care of things.
Right.
Now, none of our kids can do those jobs because all the illegal immigrants are doing those jobs.
And you wonder why the average age for people living at home is now 35 years old.
Because they can't afford to survive on their own.
That's not hyperbole. The average age for people living at home is 35 years old. Do you know how insane that is to me? Someone who left my house at 17 illegally, like, I'm out. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Like, I joined the military so I can fast track my adulthood. It's insane to me that there's a 35-year-old man eating a bowl of cereal in his mom's house still. It's like,
because he never learned to take care of himself.
If that's your situation, I'm sorry. But a lot of the people that are in that situation is because they just never learned. They never learned. One thing I learned was I went around the neighborhood and I offered to mow people's lawns and sweep their patios for $5, $10, whatever. And I had my own little business going on. I would mow my dad's lawn, and I would take that mower and I would immediately go to the neighbors. And I would leave the mower on the sidewalk, and I'd walk up to him like, hey, Mr. blah, blah, blah. I'll mow your lawn for $5. And he's like, sure, all right, yeah. And I would do like 4 or 5 houses every Saturday. And I would make like 30 or 40 bucks. That was my first job.
That was the way it was.
Was at 14 years old mowing people's lawns.
Well, when you turn 16, then you went and got a job at McDonald's. Well, good luck trying to get a job at McDonald's if you're 16 years old. It just ain't going to happen because all the jobs are taken. Okay. And so anyways, we can argue this all day long. We talk about it all day long. We're in Southern California. It affects us more than it affects most people. And it's just a shame. We need legal immigration. And if you're Selena Gomez and you're crying for people who are being shipped back home, tell them to come the right way.
Yeah.
Okay. Help them come the right way. I know it's not easy. Not everybody gets to come the right way. If you're poor, it's hard to come the right way. Help them then. Start a fund.
Yeah. Start a fund. Yeah. You're $1 billion. You have $1 billion. Start a fund.
We can't bring all 11 billion people on this planet into this country.
Can't.
Okay. We can't. It's just not, it won't work.
It's physically impossible. Okay. So
we're lucky to be born here. We're fortunate.
100%.
Okay, we were
and
fortunate.
I recognize that. We recognize that. Yeah. 100%. I'm so lucky to be born in the United States.
Like I was telling Brian, if I got on the lifeboat and you getting on the lifeboat is going to make it sink, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to kick you in the face. You can't get on.
Right. I'm sorry, dude.
I'm sorry. And that's what a lot of the people who've been here 10 or 20 years, most of the people who've been here for 10 or 20 years,
58%
like, oh, no, don't let them in.
Yeah, 58% of Hispanics are approve of deportations. That's interesting.
Because they're on the lifeboat.
We're over here.
These people are going to sink it.
Get out of here, weirdo.
You're going to ruin it for all of us.
Don't sink my lifeboat. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave this topic on this. This is a huge factory, and there's just no one there after a couple ICE raids. And by the way, this factory should be investigated by the government if this many of their employees are just missing after a couple raids.
That's what you get. Fucking immigration tries to show up, everybody leaves. Not a soul in here. Everybody's out.
You know, it's funny. It's 2 in the morning. Everybody's off work, and people are just trying to get clout.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. And here's what you were saying about the protest. I think I sent you this. These are protesting the ICE raids. You know, one way not to protest an ICE raid is to show up with Mexican flags.
I was like,
what are you doing, man?
You know, you don't have any legal right to be protesting if you're not an American citizen, right?
Right.
So this is just an easy way to go scoop them all up.
Imagine it's like, hey guys, a bunch of Mexicans out here, Mexican flags protesting. They're like, nice.
How many traps did they set on Facebook? On Facebook right. To like
join our protest.
Come join the protest, right?
They show up and guys like, hey, how you doing, Juan? Jump in the back for me, okay?
Let me tell you what, if I was an illegal immigrant, and let me tell you, if I lived in one of these countries and couldn't take care of my family, you bet your ass I'd be an illegal immigrant in this country.
100%.
I would do whatever it took
Yep.
to get here.
Yep.
But let me tell you what else I would do. I wouldn't get mad at the government that I snuck in here and by protesting the fact that they're going to make me go home.
I wouldn't be protesting.
I would hide. I'd be like hard to find.
I'm keeping my head down.
Yeah.
Like I'm not committing any crimes. I'm going to be a model citizen so no one ever knows I'm here illegally.
Yeah. And then find a way to become legal.
Yeah, and then
marry an American citizen.
And then while you're in there, figure it out. Yeah, so there it is. All right. I don't know what to think about that at all. They're like blowing.
Whoa, what was that? Somebody's got some under the hood.
All right. What's next? Okay, let's talk about. We want to talk about Deepseek and OpenAI, and for next, what do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, that's all you, man. I barely even understand it.
Let's talk about OpenAI and Deepseek.
Deepfake.
Deepfake.
The Chinese deepfake.
Okay, so this is actually important because we are in a current space race for AGI, for the best AI, because AI is going to determine a lot of things. And you can hate AI, you can love it, doesn't matter. But if you're in the United States, you're probably, in fact, if you're in the world, you're probably hoping that the United States make it to the moon, the AI moon first. Because the AGI is going to set, whatever country gets there first is going to set them up.
What's AGI again?
Artificial General Intelligence.
Okay, so basically God.
AI. No. That would be ASI. AGI would be like
so confusing.
Human level intelligence, but in the form of a machine with all the tools that a machine has, so they can process information really quickly.
Okay, got it.
So this is according to NBC, and then I'm going to show you guys a test. OpenAI says Deepseek, which is a Chinese rival that it's basically a ChatGPT type clone, may have inappropriately literally, and I'll show you, inappropriately taken data from its model to spin up its own artificial intelligence robot. I'm going to stop right there because the rest of the article is not important. 100% without a shadow of a doubt, Deepseek started with the ChatGPT model. And I'll tell you how I know that. Because I did too.
Did you just out yourself?
I've already said this.
It was OpenAI. You're supposed to be able to.
I created it's open. The literal name is OpenAI.
But you're not claiming to have started from scratch and done it with a little amount of money.
I'm not claiming that I trained my own OpenAI, my own chat AI model for this tiny little bit of no. Of course, I went to Hugging Face. I downloaded the 00 or 01 model. I put it into my system. And I gave Shane SHAIN3 my AI life, and then I started training it from there. My model started with the OpenAI model, and by the way, almost every model that exists started with the OpenAI model. They all did. I'll tell you right now, even Grok.
But in all fairness, Elon Musk was the one who helped birth OpenAI.
Right. And he never said he didn't. He never said, I did this all on my own. So Deepseek goes, hey guys, I know it cost you $100 million to train your model. Only cost us $5.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it only cost you. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, I think $5 is expensive because you took what they already did that was there freely available, and you built a little bit on top of it. $5 million seems sort of expensive.
And then they lied.
And then you lie about it.
NVIDIA chips. And then they lied about using NVIDIA chips.
And this is what's horrible about this. They affected
China lies.
They affected stock markets drastically because of their total out and out bold-faced lie. And I want to show you. Okay?
I'm sorry. You just can't trust anything that comes from the Chinese government as being the truth. I'm sorry. You just can't.
No, you're right. Yeah, you can't.
They lie about everything. Everything.
They literally lie about everything.
And they steal everything from us.
Everything. Yes. Okay.
They've been spent the last 40 years stealing all of our stuff.
Their entire business model as a country is counterfeiting Americans.
That's really to replace us.
That's like their job. Like that's what they. Okay.
Don't have a heart attack on me here.
And people need to understand that the Chinese government and the culture in China requires Americans, but is also anti-American. And as Americans, us supporting it is just furthering our demise. We're just making it easier for them to take over.
It may be cheaper, but we're making it easier.
And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say, and Shane and I have run retail businesses. They've literally stolen everything we've ever created.
Yes.
They've stolen every design we've created, and then right alongside our listings on the same marketplaces, sold them for a fraction of what we were selling them for when we not only designed them, manufactured them, and sold them and shipped them. They would just steal it completely.
And there's nothing you can do about it because they're in a foreign country.
And use slave labor to then produce that product for next to nothing, and then use American subsidies to then send that product for next to nothing. Meanwhile, we're sitting here, the original creators of said product, being like, how do we compete with this?
Right. And now there was an argument for a long time. A lot of Americans, when they would invent something, because it was so expensive and they wanted to sell it cheaply, they would take it to China, and China would machine it, tool it, manufacture it, and so that we could sell our product here in America back to our people. Well, China figured out at one point, they're like, well, we got all the stuff here for it, and they can't do shit to us. So we're just going to copy what we created and sell it as another name and sell it and undercut those people that just did it. And that's what China does to us. And that's just from a financial point of view. Now, imagine when they do that from military, stealing all of our military information. You know why China has such a wonderful military? They stole it all from us. You know, they from people close to our officials, hiding in our agencies and in our businesses, in our industries. They stole all the data and sent it back. And so, listen, and that's part of other countries doing that to other countries. But the problem is we're letting them do it.
Right.
We're letting them buy all the farmland. We're letting them do all this stuff. And now they want to say they've got better AI. So this is another part of the game for them. They copied and stole OpenAI. They're using NVIDIA chips, which they're not allowed to do, and saying that they're better. So that's where we're at.
Okay, so I'm going to show you something, Shane. I'm going to show this one first. Okay. This is ChatGPT. This is Deepseek.
Very similar.
Literally the same. I'm just literally, it has a little window you pull out. Ready? Little window you pull out. It's the same. The only difference is a slightly lighter gray and the Deepseek logo. It is the same product.
Right.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask it a question that is frustrating for Shay and I in California. Why does California dump 80% of its water into the ocean? Okay? Just as an example. So this is ChatGPT's answer. The claim that California dumps 80% of the ocean is a misunderstanding of how water is managed by the state. And then a bunch of explainers. This is Deepseek's answer. Ready? It's the same answer, slightly worded differently. Do you see this?
I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here. There's ChatGPT. I'm sorry, Deepseek. There's ChatGPT. It's the same answer in slightly different wording.
So can you argue that they're pulling the information from the same place and that's why it's similar? Or give us the argument of why that's not possible.
Okay, so this is how AI works, right? For us normal people that don't have $100 million and access to thousands of the most advanced NVIDIA GPUs. You start with an already trained base that has done a lot of the footwork. Every AI does this. And when you train that model with new information, the reason why Deepseek and AI have the same exact format and similar answers, right? In summary, et cetera, are because they started with the base model that was taught how to answer the question. So it was taught to go, here's the correct version, here's my research, and here's my in summary. The only difference is ChatGPT says in conclusion, and Deepseek says in summary. But then what precedes that is the exact same wording. So the reason why you can tell that it was they started with ChatGPT is the format, not the answer, but the format. Quick answer, research, summary. They have literally copied the exact format, which means they had to have started with the exact same model. Now, the argument is, well, what if ChatGPT started with a model? Okay, show it to me, because they were the first.
Well, and here's the thing. It's not a problem if they use ChatGPT. It's not a problem at all if they copied it. The problem is them saying that they didn't and kind of, trying to make themselves the premier company. And what happened is it actually made our AI markets collapse.
Right.
And so what China wants to do, this is why it's insidious. What China wants to do is they want to break us financially by all of a sudden making us go, oh my God, we need to put a lot more money into AI, right? And not put more money towards defense. So all this is like, obviously trying to get us to, telling lies, not being honest about it, so that they can get us to focus on the things that they want us to focus on.
Right.
And it's all backed by the Chinese government. Now, what else happens? Now, if they can say that they're better, Americans, what do they want? They want the best, right? The globe wants the best.
Right.
Now they're going to go download the Deepseek app as opposed to the other one. Now they can be fed information. Like I believe if you look on Deepseek and you ask about Chinese policies, it's all going to be painted in a very rosy
Ask about Tiananmen Square. It'll literally tell you it can't answer. So the thing is this, you're 100% right. And regular Americans don't know the difference.
Right.
They don't know that the free version of Deepseek that was built on the open source version of ChatGPT is just a slightly more trained model of the base ChatGPT model, right? They don't know that ChatGPT actually has a way better model than Deepseek.
That will, in the future, potentially have the idea to slowly and subtly submit, give you anti-American or different,
100%.
Pro-China things and views and values. Listen, guys, China's in this for the long game.
Yes.
They're in it for the long haul. They don't mind slowly, insidiously making small changes until eventually they're the world power.
Because they can't take over America by force. They can't hit the shores of California or whatever, or Florida. America is impossible to take over in the classic fashion. The only way to really do it is to slowly buy all the farmland, copy all the companies, influence children via TikTok and now Deepseek. This is the only way to do it.
And it's obvious, and there's an open playbook for it. There's a China plan out there. It's
100%.
Pretty obvious, and anybody who doesn't want to believe it, so we have to protect ourselves. I think Marco Rubio was talking about it on the Megyn Kelly show. Marco Rubio, who by the way, I was never a huge fan of Marco Rubio, but I really like him as representing us in foreign affairs. He was talking about, look, China's going to look out for its best interest, and we need to look out for our best interest. Since the end of the Cold War, we've been looking out for the interests of the globe. We've been the single power after Russia fell, and so we've been taking care of everybody. It's time for us to be concerned about our interests, not everybody's interests. And here's the problem. China's only worried about their interests. Iran's only worried about their interests. Russia's only worried about their interests. Now, if everybody wanted to be worried about global interests, then great, we should do that. But if we don't take care of our interests, there's not going to be an us to compete to hopefully make the world a better place in 50 or 100 years.
I agree.
We won't be here to do it.
I agree. I'm going to respond to Auto Trader. He says, guys, I work in dev and AI. The reason the market dropped was because they invented a method of breaking the linear compute training curve by using auto training. That's not why the reason the market dropped, because regular people have no idea what you're talking about. And the market is determined by investors that have no idea what that is. You go on and say less GPUs needed than NVIDIA and OpenAI. That's what they said. That's not true. I don't believe a word what they said.
But he's right that's why markets dropped, because what happened was NVIDIA has been having these huge numbers, right? Because NVIDIA has a huge moat around itself. Nobody can do it. We're going to need NVIDIA forever and ever and ever. And when DeepSeek came out, basically it made NVIDIA's liars. Well, we don't need NVIDIA as much as we thought. So NVIDIA crashed like 20%.
But they also lied because they had cards that they shouldn't have had. And they broke export laws to get them.
But what he's saying is that is the reason why markets crashed, because people lost confidence in our AI.
And by the way,
that's why they crashed.
You can train AI on other GPUs. It's just that NVIDIA is best at it. That's it.
Yeah, and they're more expensive.
Right.
Which is why they're talking about the $5 million, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they 100% broke those laws to get those chips, and then they lied about it, and they lied about how they started. They didn't train their model for $5 million,
and they only did it to impact us. That's what's insidious about it. It wasn't because they were trying to get more clients or trying to that wasn't the lie. The lie was to hurt America. That's the point.
Yeah,
and that's why
they started with China started with an American product, modified it, and then repackaged it,
and then undercut us,
guys, and then undercut us.
Same thing they've always done.
This is the same exact. They do this the same exact thing with T-shirts, humidifiers, and now AI. Can we stop pretending like they haven't been doing that for 40 years?
Yeah, and they're sending all of the drugs into our country.
Crazy, bro.
Via Mexico and Canada, which is why we have tariffs that are starting today.
Right. Crazy. Okay, so speaking of the tariffs.
You're welcome.
That was a great segue.
Thank you.
All right, we're talking about tariffs next. So the tariffs do start today, Shane.
Yes.
Would you like to give me a little information on that?
Yeah, so Trump came in. He said, "Look, we're gonna tariff. It's like been his big thing. The reason why is because tariffs can bring in a whole lot of money. But the bigger reason why is because we're not getting deals. Like we said earlier, after the Cold War, we started taking care of the globe. And what happened was everybody was looking out for their best interest, but we were trying to look out for the world's best interest, the globe's best interest. So we just let people take advantage of us, and we didn't have good deals with people because we were a rich nation and we could afford to give.
Right.
Well, now we've given so much that we are in trouble. And so Trump is going to come in and he's going to try to equal the playing field. For the most part, tariffs are going to be put against countries who are tariffing us. So, for example, why should the UK be able to put a 50% tariff on us, not allow us to sell any of their products, and yet we are, is an unbalance. There's a zero tariff. We're not charging them anything.
Yeah.
Right? Because of free trade, people want open trade. But here's the problem. Mexico and Canada are responsible for letting a lot of the opioids into our country because their policies are allowing drugs to easier come into their country, which then allows the illegal activity to bring drugs into our country, right? Which is all coming from China. So Trump said, look, on day one, I'm going to put right away, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada. And it could even go higher, 50% tariff, because they are the ones allowing, and we're going to stop this fentanyl from coming into our country.
Can you quickly explain what a tariff is?
A tariff is a tax on goods.
Yeah, it's tax.
So, for example, anything that Mexico, imports or exports into our country, it will have a tariff of 25% starting today. So whatever we buy from Mexico, whether that's avocados, whether that's, Jose Cuervo, whatever we're getting from beer,
golf shoes,
right? Whatever we're getting from Mexico is going to have an increased tariff. Whatever's coming from Canada, also the same way. We get some steel from there, we get some lumber, we get some things from Canada. That's also going to be taxed. Now, what they're saying is, well, that's going to cost Americans more money. Possibly, you might have to pay more.
Can you explain how we would be paying for the tariffs versus Mexico?
So Mexico, well, what's going to happen is Mexico is going to charge the companies that are buying those tariffs. They're going to increase their prices so that the companies buying from Mexico is going to pay 25% more to cover the cost of the tax that we're charging. It's like a VAT fee. Think of it like this: when somebody buys a shirt from us, right, and we send it to Europe,
right,
there's a VAT tax, right? They charge us a fee to bring and it's for the government. Right. So now a lot of times American companies will pay that VAT tax and then put that into the price of their product.
Right.
Okay. So that's how the price increase gets.
And Shane, I know as well, we sell products to all over the world, and those VAT fees and custom declarations always come up.
So the avocado farmers in Southern California, they don't have to pay this fee.
No.
So now their avocados are going to be competitively priced, if not maybe cheaper than the avocados coming from Mexico.
This is the important part. Please continue. Please, everyone pay attention to this.
So now people are going to be buying American products as opposed to foreign products more.
And what do American companies generally hire?
American overseas. Yeah, the people, right, which will cause more jobs.
Right.
Now, what's interesting is when the people in Mexico, the Mexico companies or Canada or wherever the thing's coming from, when they realize that the American companies are buying less of their products, they're going to have to give in to whatever Trump wants them to do in order to have these tariffs backed off a little bit,
right,
so they can continue to make money. And what'll happen is there'll be some balancing. So, more of it'll come, some will come from there, some will come from here, but it'll be fair. There'll be, and overall, that'll bring more money into the United States overall.
And right now, it's not fair.
It's not.
I'm going to really clear with you right now. And maybe you don't run a business. Maybe you work for someone and you don't see this. Maybe you don't feel this. But right now, for American businesses that produce a product or even a service, but really a product, it's not fair. It's almost impossible to compete with China. It's almost impossible to compete with Mexico. You can't look for our t-shirt site. We were just like, we're not going to compete anymore. We can't. For a while, we were lowering our prices to try to compete with them on these marketplaces. We just said, F it. This is what they cost. And we're either going to make money or we're not. Because we cannot compete. They literally make and ship the product for less than it cost us.
Right. So right now, let's say you can buy a t-shirt. Let's just use this for example. Let's say you can go onto a website and buy a t-shirt for $8, right? Now that t-shirt's coming from China originally, right? And they're able to do that. Now, when Trump puts a tariff on China, that t-shirt price is going to go up and it's going to be more comparable to what we have to charge because it costs us a lot more money to make the product here in the United States.
Right.
Now you're going to be buying our product as frequently as buying the Chinese product.
And shipping subsidies are going to be cut off, which means no more shipping to the United States for $1.75.
Well, it used to be great because these American companies would go over to China or to Mexico or some of these places, and they would have their products made and they can sell them cheaply back here. But then when China and all these places decided to undercut us, now they're selling directly to consumer. It cut out all the American businesses.
Right.
That's what the problem is. And so Trump is going to try to even the playing field. It's a win-win. But what's interesting is they were asking Trump, well, what can they do to stop this 25% tariff from happening before the deadline? And he's like, nothing. It's going to happen. And then we'll see what happens. He was going to implement that tariff no matter what, showing people that it's not always just a threat.
Right.
Like he's got to make sure it's not always just a threat, but we'll see what ends up happening.
Right. So, yeah. And so when they say you're going to pay for tariffs, because people say a lot, you're paying for the tariff, right? Well, no, that's not how it works.
You don't have to buy their products.
Yeah, you don't have to buy their products. You can buy from Americans. So when people say that, they're saying that you're going to pay for it because they're going to raise their prices to account for the tariff, right? Yeah. And so then you'll be paying for it. Well, you don't have to buy their products. Well, you're going to pay for it because now you have to pay. Now you have to buy from an American that charges the proper wage. Well, you're paying for the tariffs. Well, no, you're paying to be competitive. Now they're going to have to eventually, if they want to compete, they're going to have to drop their prices or give us the for lack of a better word, respect, leverage that we deserve as the global economic power in the world. If that's the requirement, that's the requirement. But guess what? We're not paying for it. We are paying to be competitive. So,
right. Well,
and you don't have to buy their products. You can buy American. It's okay to buy American.
You'll survive without Jose Cuervo. You will. Yeah. Buy a different tequila.
Yeah.
You know,
buy some of that. What's it called? It tastes nasty. It's called bulletproof or something like that. It's like really quite bad. Look, here's the deal. And maybe might be a little bit of a uncomfortable growing pain with this, but we can't just keep trying to consume everything without producing something. It's impossible to consume indefinitely. You have to produce.
Or even better, make it so that so like, for example, the UK, right? Let us sell some of our cars to your people. Like, right. And then we'll make a deal. Like that way our businesses can make even more money selling overseas. So all we want is fair deals. And I think that's fair. Why should we have a $200 billion deficit or $200 million deficit or whatever it is with China or with Mexico and Canada? Why shouldn't it be fair? Why do we need to prop them up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, constantly forcing us to bear the burden. And we are living is not a fair system. It needs to be fair. So thank God that's happening. And if you don't like it, then I think you need to, I think that if you're mad that we're in favor of this, you need to do some research. It's entirely possible that you're younger, maybe you've worked at a company your whole life and you don't understand what's happening, but there will be there'll be no industry eventually if we don't compete. We have to be able to compete.
Well, get ready, because the media is only going to be focused on the items and products that are costing Americans more money. For the next 60 days or whatever, 30 to 60 days, all of the regular media sites are going to be talking about how these products have gone up and how much more you're paying for this. And that's going to flood the market because they want to they're against this agenda.
Right.
So just be prepared for that. And remember that there's probably a bigger story. And we'll be talking about, more of the quality of it as we go forward.
I agree, my friend. Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up here pretty soon. We didn't get to the skyscraper. You want to do a very quick headline only,
the asteroid?
Bullet point, the skyscraper. What's going on with that?
The skyscraper. The skyscraper-sized asteroid was found there's only a 1% chance that it can hit. I mean, it's still 1% is something. It depends on
1%.
It is still 1% chance that that Earth can be struck in, I think it was 2032. Is that what it is? Yeah, 2032. And what makes it interesting is that we got to keep an eye on this stuff. And even if there's only a 1% chance it can happen, that's still a 1% chance. And it will depend probably in like 2029, 2030, 2031, what the orbit of that asteroid continues to be. And if it goes through a certain trajectory, then that's when it can become a big impact. But here's what you do. If there's a 1% chance, NASA and all of the global people working on space things need to continue working on how we can move asteroids out of the path.
Right.
We need to work on asteroid safety for our world. If you want to do something globally, this is what we need to do globally, because this affects all of us.
Yeah, that's a good point. We should all be working to make sure we don't get hit by an asteroid.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure the last dominant species on this planet, according to history, was taken out by an asteroid.
Right. And it can happen again. It will happen again. It's not a matter of if, it's when. And so this is just a good reminder that we need to be listen, we've managed to land on an asteroid now. So we've landed probes. Mm-hmm. There's no reason we can't figure out how to land things with propellant, then to slowly over time move that asteroid out of our orbit.
Right. I agree.
So, yeah. And that's basically about it.
Okay. We got some Rumble rants here from JC Chappie again. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you supporting us.
Thank you, Chappie.
If you would like to support us, go to that link right there, right there, mxtz.co/brain or mixtease.com/brain, and buy one of our sweet designs. All right, so Chappie says, he meant Tulsi. Tulsi Gabbard looks like a goddess. Come down from Mount Olympus. Fire emoji, heart face emoji. I agree. She's a very attractive woman.
She is a Samoan goddess, yes.
A goddess. And another Rumble rat from Chappie. Thank you again. They were turning away top qualified white candidates and giving preference to DEI candidates who had degrees in history and arts degrees. Yeah. Hey, so Shane and I hired someone once that had like a degree in like art history, and the poor guy couldn't get a job because he got a degree in art history.
In art history, right? Yeah. That's why you see these people. You got to get a degree in the right field.
Yeah, this guy ended up having to work for our little shop because he's like, I got a bachelor's degree, but there's nothing I can do with art history.
Right. Yeah. Teach. That was it.
Yeah. And by the way, great guy. He was an amazing employee for a long time, but poor guy picked the wrong major, dude.
Yeah. And that's the thing with what Chappie's talking about. Yeah. If you've got somebody, and I'm not sure what the degree is for airline being an air traffic controller. Yeah, I think the most important thing about being an air traffic controller is being able to be hyper aware and make good decisions. I don't know what that degree is in, but just hire the best people for the job. That's what we need.
Yeah. Doesn't seem very hard to me.
Regardless of your skin color, gender.
Right. And same for the NFL and the NBA.
Yeah.
Hire the most skilled person at that particular job, as in, i.e., getting a basket or a touchdown.
And I fully expect that 75 to 80% of those people will probably all be black. Right. And that's okay. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah. They're the best.
They're the best. It makes sense. All right. That's going to wrap it up for us. Thank you so much for watching this whole time. There has actually been like almost 50 of you the whole time. It's awesome.
Awesome.
We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for supporting us. And again, if you want to support us further, do us a solid. Go get one of these sweet products. You can go to mixtease.com/brain. If you go there, you're going to see this page. Click on YouTube exclusives, and you'll see a bunch of other cool products by other people on YouTube. And you click on the BRANE Show and get one of our sweet designs right here.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it if you do.
Yeah, we really would.
And if you can't, you know what? If you want to support us and you're like, listen, I can't give you a Rumble rant. I can't buy a stupid hat. It doesn't even fit my head. My brain's too big. Then just like the video.
like the video, and come back again next week.
And comment on it when you see it on as an archive. That's a good good way to support us. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys all for coming and listening to us today. We really, really hope you have a great week.
We do. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Shane?
Take care, everybody. Love you.
Here comes the